You know, half of the people may agree with what you say, but half of the people like the WWE the way it is. You know, most of these people in the arena wouldn't be here tonight if they didn't like the WWE the way it was. And when you listen to both arguments there, and then you kind of compare it to what's going on right now with this whole Sonic the Hedgehog situation with Genesis and afterwards and all that, and the upcoming issues of 230 and 231, it makes people think, it makes people think that, there's a lot of similarities there. On one hand, Ian Flynn, along with some other fans out there, want the comic to be fun for everybody, want everybody to enjoy it without no complaints. And then like what Triple H said, there are fans that like it the way it is, and there are some fans that don't. So, we really, really don't know exactly, what end of the spectrum is correct or is right. We don't know what end of the spectrum is true and what end of the spectrum is a lie. We don't know. We don't know any of that. And all we can do is just wait. I just said this briefly in a post on the Saturday Morning Sonic forums. I said, as soon as in a few weeks when they bring out the preview cover for 232, we'll probably have to hopefully get some answers there. We'll know more by then. But again, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, Ian Flynn and Paul Kaminsky have both said that the effects of this story arc right now is going to be lasting for about a year. So we don't know exactly what effects those could be. We don't know who would be affected for about a year. We don't know what would come out of it. And you already have fans on either side saying, well, this is what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. You have fans saying, oh, he's not going to kill Sally off, he's too much of a Sally fan, he's too much of a supporter of the pairing of Sonic and Sally. There's no way he'd kill him off. Or kill her off. There's no way he'd legionize her. There's no way he'd roboticize her. Then you have on the other side that's saying he's a liar. He's been saying that Ian Flynn's a liar. That he says he's been a fan. He's done this. He's that. But all he's been doing is just filling us with lies, and that he's actually a hater, and that he's just said that stuff to kind of make things cool and everything. He's rused us, if you will. To me, honestly, I don't really know exactly what's true and what's not. I don't really know exactly whether he is a Sonic and Sally hater. I don't know if he is a Sonic and Sally supporter. I don't know if he said all these kind things about the characters, about certain characters, just to get on people's good sides, or if he meant them. I don't know. I don't know if he said this, and I don't know if he said that. But I'm going to have to take a break here, let my battery charge for a little while, and then hopefully if I have a little bit of time before my mom gets home, I'll be able to finish some of this. So, see you later. Hey everybody, I'm sorry if you're just looking at the couch right now, trying to make sure of something. Hopefully it won't do it, and that's fade out. But you're probably wondering why I'm on this side now. It's because I get a better view if, say, that my mom comes, and probably come in the next 16 minutes. I don't know. But I wanted to finish what I was talking about earlier. It's kind of weird. Like I said, you got one side of people, on one side of the fan base thinking this, and you got another side thinking that. And again, it goes back to what I was talking about with the whole CM Punk Triple H, comparing it to what they did on Super SmackDown Live. And if you don't want to know what I mean, you can YouTube it here on YouTube. Just put in CM Punk Triple H contract signing, and you'll see what I mean. But again, that, you know, when I heard both of them say what they said, I thought to myself, that's exactly what when I heard what CM Punk had to say, that's what, to me, that's like what Ian, and as I mentioned before, that's what Ian and all these other fans out there, some of the fans, I should say, want. You know, they want everybody to enjoy it. That's why they approve of what Ian's doing. They approve of it. They don't really mind it because they know that if what Paul Kaminsky says is true, that everybody will be satisfied. Then, you know, they would have achieved the goal. They'll be like, you know, wow, we finally got people enjoying the comic without them arguing over, oh, this is what I want this, I want this person to be with that person, I want that character to be with this character, blah, blah, blah. You know, that, to me, that's what I believe they want to do. But then again, it's like, you know, to quote what Triple H said, you know, you got a majority of fans that like, you know, things the way they are. You know, or else they wouldn't be, you know, like with WWE. He said, you know, fans like the WWE the way it is, or else they wouldn't have been in that arena last night, or they wouldn't be in the arenas that they're in like tonight or tomorrow night or wherever. They wouldn't be there. You know, if they didn't enjoy it the way it was. And to me, you know, to me, that's what you have with some of the fans that want, let's say, a character like Sally gone. You know, they want her out of the picture. You know, that's what you have when you have characters that want Sally around. You know, you have, you know, fans out there that want the comic to be the way they feel it should be. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, folks. You know, we want it to be one way, and we want it to be another, but we can't always get what we want. You know, I have come out, and I will say this. I'll come out and say this. When, I said this before as well. I've said this before as well. When issue 47 happened, and I saw what happened to Sally, yeah, back then, I was still in, I was still in high school at the time. I was going to be a senior that year. And I was pissed off as hell. I didn't like the fact that Ken Penders had supposedly killed her off. But when I read the 50th issue, and I saw that she was alive, I thought, oh, thank God. And it was only until a few years later that I found out that the reason he kept her alive is because Sega begged him. Not begged him, but told him, hey, you got to keep her alive for promotional reasons. And I think one of the promotional reasons at the time was the fact that she was a main character in the Sega World deal down in Sydney, Australia. You don't believe me? Google in Sega World Sally merchandise, and you'll see what I mean. But that's why they wanted to keep her around. I mean, Ian Flynn, okay, despite how we feel about Ian Flynn, he's even come out right here on his YouTube channel, and he has said, and he did a little Let's Play deal, and it wasn't Let's Play video games, it's more like a Let's Play Sonic the Hedgehog deal, or whatever it was. It was a Let's something, I can't think of it right now, but he basically gave info on something we didn't know. He said, I think at the last part of that video he did, the third part of that video that he did, he said the original idea that Ken Penders had for the whole Sally situation was to kill her off and then have her replaced by a robot duplicate, an animatronic planted by Robotnik. Even though Robotnik would have been dead, he would have still kind of had a little bit of a victory by having this robot Sally take the place of the real Sally, and then kind of, you know, go with that until the truth was revealed. That was Ken Penders' idea, original idea, until Sega stepped in. Now, I don't know what version of Sega this was. I don't know if it was Sega of America that stepped in or Sega of Japan, but Sega overall stepped in and said, hey, look, you can't do this to this character. You can't, you know, kill this character off.